Hi guys, I'm Katie Room from Periapsispress.com, where I review indie sci-fi and fantasy books. Welcome to my basically like show. I'm gonna do a whole The Signal episode, I think, with just a little bit of a discussion at the end. Mostly, I'm going to be doing a book haul. Put my money where my mouth is, buying the books that I've reviewed so I have physical copies on my shelf, which I love. A lot of them I got ebook copies for the purpose of review, which, you know, there's a disclaimer on all of my reviews where that applies. And I appreciate having the ebook copy because I can hold a small child while simultaneously reading with relative ease. But I want physical copies, not just for my own, pleasure, but also so that they're on hand for curious up-and-coming children, for guests who come and look at our library, and of course, so that I can hold them up and gesture with them during videos. Hi to Michael Kane. Thank you for coming. Real quick, I'm gonna make sure that I have tweeted the link. Yeah. Now I've done my due diligence, making sure people know that I'm live. Let's see. Cool thing that I got for my birthday. I'll show you guys. I got my mom bought me a set of these coasters. They look like little books. So I now have the entire set of Jane Austen coasters. So I'm really excited about that. They're very, very pretty too. I really like the Mansfield Park one because it's red. That's my favorite color. And the Persuasion one in particular. I think they look very... Am I going to have issues with glare today? There we go. I like the colors on those. Okay. My slides. We will be going through $100 worth of indie sci-fi and fantasy physical books, as well as a couple of other things that I have acquired. So there's some bonus stuff in there. Real quick, I will remind everybody that we are currently doing our book club on Tales Before Tolkien, using it as a way to round out our fantasy repertoire, dig a little deeper, see some of the earlier examples of the genre, things that will hopefully help me to be able to make good recommendations for people who are looking for similar stuff in current indies. At least that's where I'm coming from. If you want to know where the other people in the book club are coming from, I recommend the video that we did 2 weeks ago. I posted, I think, where we looked at the introduction. We talked about our experience with fantasy. We had a lot of fun. Patrick and Jonathan Sugar were participated in that one. Other people will come and go as the book club keeps going, because we're adults with busy lives and it's hard to get everybody to sit down together. There have been some interesting things, indie news that I don't have slides for. I'm planning on doing some news articles on my website about. There's been some cover reveals and some actual releases. There's upcoming things that are happening, audiobook stuff, and I need to just go through it all and sort it out. But I did not have time to do that tonight, so I don't have slides for them. So I apologize about that. Okay, $100 worth of sci-fi and fantasy indie books. I'll do the bonus ones first. This is The Devil's Sparrow, Book 2, The Loyal Men. I showed you guys the first one. I know the author. She is a face-to-face friend. I did a little bit of work on the editing, so this won't show up on my website unless one of you reads it, likes it, writes a review, and then is willing to guest post. YA fantasy in a not grody way, like the old style YA fantasy. So she just re-released book 2, and she sent me a copy, which I appreciate. Wanted to share it with you guys. Other thing is the package. Oh, here it is. I knew I had it somewhere, and I won't flash it around. The last time I had an unboxing, I think somebody showed up right when I was cutting the box open, and I think I had the camera pointed downwards overhead, and they were like, "Holy cow!" But it's just a box cutter. It's just a fancy box cutter. So this is Fenton Woods Dwellers in the Deep that I backed on the Kickstarter. I'm very excited. And I didn't give him my address for a very, very long time, so it's only just now writing. It's not his fault at all. So there's that. I'll try and make it so that there's no glare. There we go. I'm very excited. And Fenton Wood does a pretty parsed down interior. So I'll give you guys a look at it, but it's very, very basic, very as many words on the page as possibly will fit. It works, and I now have a physical copy. His Yankee Republic is the same way. White paper, glossy, which I appreciate. I much prefer the glossy over the matte, as you guys know. I'm sure as Michael Caine would argue against me there. Okay, so also excited to dive into that. I've read his work before. I've reviewed it. I am fairly confident that I'm going to enjoy this as well. Okay, now the $100 starts. I got it in 2 boxes. Well, sort of paper bag and a box. They're like, using less plastic. That's great. Is my book going to be all dinged up to heck, right? Oh, this is lovely. And it is not dinged up to heck, so that's good. All right, this is the Slain Maiden, and it has a dust jacket. It looks great. This one was one that really, really gripped me. It doesn't end happily, and I really hope that she's able to continue, but it still ended satisfactorily, if that makes sense. Here's a chapter heading. Off-white paper. Looks nice. looks great. And I will show you guys a little slide to go with each of these. So this is by Eleanor Currit, a dark fantasy featuring a shrewd protagonist, cruel myths, and monstrous evil. This story weaves a fairy tale both grim and piercing. The themes in this one were really timely, sort of potent. This village has sort of fought back evil in the past, and it's coming back. And it's not being resisted as it should be. And it felt very, very timely. Okay, now for the box. And this one should have a few more in it. Oh, it's heavy because it's books. Oh, and I always err on the side of hardcovers because I like hardcovers. So if you didn't go for the hardcovers, you could probably squeak out a little bit more out of your $100 if you were so inclined. Okay. Somehow I knew this one was going to be matte. I just knew from the way that I just knew it was going to be matte. This is The Haunt on the Island of Esmer by Justin A.W. Blair. And I love this cover. I honestly, it's very simple, and maybe it doesn't capture quite the genre as well as a like more modern cover, not quite today's modern previously when, you know, with the characters splashed across the front, but I just feel like it works. Off-white paper. The heading, chapter heading, a little bit of a, looks like a double indent, but I'm sure it's just because of the big letter there. What do they call that again? There's a word for it. I don't remember. All right. There it is. This is a suspenseful fantasy horror novel featuring veteran adventures teetering on the edge of madness, a demon-riddled dungeon, and a boy who wants to become a knight. This first book in the series is a sanity-twisting dungeon crawl. This one is a real nice mashup, sort of like weird horror and your sort of D&D fantasy type stuff. Some people compared it to The Black Company in their reviews. I unfortunately haven't read The Black Company yet, although I now own a copy. So I'm excited to try that as well. Basically, because other people talked about it in conjunction with this book. All right. But yeah, all right, yeah, and it's matte. It does look okay though. Usually with matte, and especially with large areas of dark on the cover, you get these sort of shiny marks. But I think this one is pretty. Was treated well in transit. Here's a more recent one that I've reviewed. Here's one I've reviewed more recently, I should say. This is Dawn of the Black Sun by Tim O'Burnham. And that's glossy. There we go. All right. It's a chapter heading. Looks great. I think it's white paper. And it has interior illustrations. So if you're debating between the ebook and this, those interior illustrations are definitely worth it. I'm not sure that they weren't present in the ebook that I read, but they might be in later copies. Yeah, looks great. Looks great. Oops. Where are you? Uh-oh. Ah, I don't have a slide for him. Wow. How did that happen? Bum, ba-dum, bum. Okay. Let's share screen. This one. Okay. Here's my review. It's an immersive Western-style progression fantasy featuring evil bandits, extraordinary creatures, and martial arts action. This first book in the Silver Empire series is a brisk-paced student mentor adventure that leaves you ready for more. And then while I was getting in here, I also remembered that I do have an excerpt from Dwellers in the Deep on my website as well, if you're interested in getting a flavor for that. Okay. Glossy, which I like. I feel like the colors are brighter and truer as well in the glossy. But it does catch the light. Okay. Taming of the Fire Sword by Nikki Root. I'm not a huge fan of this cover. It looks fine, but I don't think it quite captures what the book is, which is sci-fi romance. And I loved it. I don't generally like most romance books don't hit it for me quite. This one really did. And it's a nice chunk. And that's the whole story. So it's a standalone, I believe a standalone. Let me find my thing. Oh, I should open it. Chapter heading. Looks great. Off-white paper. Yeah. Oops, there it is. A Sword and Planet sci-fi romance featuring a farm on a desert planet, alien magic and sci-fi tech, and playful banter. The standalone, yep, I was right. I remembered correctly. Enemies to Lovers story is action-packed and fun. And it really dives into thematically the roles of men and women. I think Taming of the Fire Sword is kind of a cheeky way to reference that. If you are familiar with Taming of the Shrew. Yeah, if you're interested in knowing more, you can read my whole review or just buy the book. You know, I liked it. Okay. Glossy cover as well. Okay, last one. I finally got a copy of this. Let me get rid of that. This is The Eye of the Universe by Matt Waterhouse. There she is. And I waited to get this initially because he had an an AI cover for a while, and I'm not sure who did the cover for this, but I think it looks a lot better than the cover he had before. So very excited. Glassy. He's got extra space between the paragraphs. There's the chapter heading. Off-white paper. I prefer off-white. This is a wild first-person ride, and I feel like some of the choppier, like, stream of consciousness stuff, it is almost emphasized more with that extra space between the paragraphs. I'm not sure that I would like it industry standard for everybody to do, but I think it doesn't detract. There it is. Psychological horror sci-fi, featuring a shipwreck in space, a survivor battling madness and the whispers of the dead to find others, and an emotional support corpse who needs his voice. Standalone novel again, has a haunting tone, weaving horror and suspense with grief, beauty, and dark humor. I really enjoyed this one. It's bigger than I expected. I've talked about this before. When I get books in my hands, sometimes they're significantly thicker than I sort of mentally thought they were. I must have read this one really fast. All right. So that is $100. Yeah, don't drop them. Not right down on my mic. Of indie books. Sci-fi and fantasy specifically. Recommend everything in here. I've read everything in here. And now I'm buying everything in here. Michael Caine points out that the extra space between the paragraphs is going to add some pages. That's true. That is true. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Let's do that again sometime. I think this is like the third or fourth $100 of indie books videos I've done. It's fun. I enjoy it. I like holding in my hands a tangible, concrete artifact of this book experience that I had sort of separate from books. It's very odd sort of switching to being an ebook reader. I read tons all through high school. It went down in college just because I was a lit major, and so I was doing a lot of reading for college. And then sort of coming back to books, my primary way of reading them became ebooks. Again, for that extra hand while holding a baby. And it's kind of an emotional experience to hold in your hands and feel them, the weight of them. It's really hard to explain. It's just kind of I wouldn't call it emotional experience. It's not that intense, but I like having that actual primary world connection with the book, with the story. Hi to Nora Whisperwind. It's nice to get a quick review on each. Yes, I tried to make slides so that I stay focused enough to tell you guys a little bit about what I was thinking when I recommend the book. I need my slides. They without them, everything falls apart. And on my website, on the browsing page where you can see all of the covers, if you hover or tap one of the covers, it should flip and then show that blurb that I've copied and pasted here. It was a lot of work, guys. Okay. I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about self-censorship and indies. This is based on, and I'm actually going to remove that title right away, based on John A. Douglas's long form X post, an Orc City 2nd edition. I've talked about the Black Crown before on this channel because no, it's way up there. I'm on the front cover with my recommendation. I gave a glowing review, and when the Orc City meme took off, I made a video to defend that glowing review that is prominently featured on the cover. So I thought it would be interesting to talk to you guys a bit about some of the changes that John is making and what I think about them. I don't want to dive in too deep to his long form post, but I will hit on a couple things. What changed is pretty simple. He said he removed the vulgarity, or some of the vulgarity. Well, further on, he sort of talks about real world cuss words like the F word and stuff like that, but left some of more of the colorful language that is not so immediately offensive. Shortened the prologue, fixed a few lines, and removed or trimmed some scenes. When initially writing the Black Crown, I wrote at what I was most used to writing, watching and reading. I felt at the time that doing so would perhaps show I was not writing a YA novel and didn't really want to be lumped into that genre. Not that I have anything against it or authors who do, but it wasn't something for me. I wasn't going to litter the whole book with profanity because that's obnoxious for me, but a smattering of rough language to demonstrate dramatic moments was something I felt was not beyond the pale. Since the book was published, I rarely had much negative feedback for the inclusion of any of the content. An occasional dad would tell me in comments that he would have let his kids read it if not for the profanity. When I read the book to my daughter, I did end up self-censoring many scenes, and that was about when doubt began to take hold. But in the 2 years, something else began to surface. Articles about how men didn't seem to read as much. It's kind of funny. Another thing that I commented on X today was another person saying that men just don't read, and that's why the industry doesn't have anything for them. And that simply isn't true. How kids read a lot less, young boys especially. While others argue why, I know one big reason is that very little is written for them. Male-centric stories, written and accessible for younger male readers, are in short supply, and the biggest examples are often pulled from decades in the past. They certainly don't hand them out in school. When I was writing The Lionheart, I made the conscious decision to write the book so that it could be handed to a younger reader. Michael Caine says, ooh, good topic. I'm very interested in this. And actually, I had talked with John about this 3 years ago, I think. I think it was back in 23 when I was looking back, because I was like, this sounds very familiar. So I went back through our DMs and I found it. So I thought that I would share a little bit about what I said at the time and what I think about the whole situation. I don't have strong feelings about making books accessible for younger kids, younger audience. That might change as my boys grow up. Currently, from my perspective, some books are for adults and kids and some books are for adults. And I don't have a problem with that. And I don't feel that, particularly like language, but also things like violence and sexuality, should necessarily be excluded from books for adults either. I think that there's a lot of important things that can and should be said about those topics that are very well handled in fiction, that are maybe harder to speak to in nonfiction without sounding condescending or making things uncomfortable between people or legalistic. It's easier to have a conversation about those things in fiction. Present questions, situations, counter arguments between people, as long as you're not puppeting. This is what you should think. Oh, I never thought of it that way. No, that's not that's not good thematic work. I think, speaking to genre, The Black Crown works well as young adult fiction. Rags, the main character, is the right age. It's really his journey from being this sheltered prince to being a leader of men, and that transition is coming of age, right? So I think that it's not inappropriate to think that it would be nice for things to be accessible if people do want to hand something to their kids after liking it. Profanity is like, it's a low, I think I said it's an easy fix. It's one of those things that when an adult is reading, especially somebody who is, doesn't swear like a sailor, something like the F word might give them a jolt, right? Make them pay attention. So that kind of thing is an easy fix, but it's not necessarily the whole problem when it comes to handing a book off to a younger audience. It's the kind of thing that an adult will remember because they were poked by it. But other language might not be appropriate, and references to like sexual content or gore or these sort of other types of concerns would be bigger for me personally. Like I like, swearing is not a big deal to me. I tell my kids it's rude, so we don't do it. But it's not it's not, to me, I'm not like, this is a cardinal sin, just don't ever do that. It's like any word, right, needs to be used carefully in the right contexts and stuff. And you as a child do not have any of those contexts. But other content, situational content, things that I don't want them to be exposed to. Those are greater concerns for me as a parent. And they are harder to remember as an adult if you read the book not thinking about that, sort of come to the end of it and are like, this was a great book, so-and-so would enjoy it. Those things might not prick you and make you remember them quite like, an F word. Yeah, I think, yep. And then the last thing that I said was that, like, you want to make sure that if you're going to be self-censoring yourself, that it actually accomplishes your goal, because otherwise you'll get angry moms in your reviews, right? And I think that John has done that. I haven't looked at the actual changes that he's made per se, but listening to his story here, I think that he's being careful about it, right? He not just is listening to feedback that he's got from other readers. He, in reading it aloud to his daughter, is getting that, and sort of through that experience, identifying the things that he as a parent would be more concerned about that are not necessarily just profanity. I think he's been thinking about this carefully. He's obviously been thinking about it for a while, and he's doing it very intentionally. He's not just, trying to placate the woke scolds or the Karens or whatever. He's thinking about his audience, what his audience is looking for, and responding accordingly. Michael Caine says, I mentioned strong language in my review, but only because 95% of the strong language came from the farm boy warrior. And the fact is, the flavor cursing from that character was so much more effective. Yep, I agree. That character's in-universe farm boy cursing outbursts were really quite funny and colorful. I enjoyed those a lot as well. They feel more real to the world, real to the character, and they make you, they surprise you, in a way that the F word doesn't, right? Which is the best part about using language, right? When you have someone's anger or frustration, maybe the F word communicates that, but it's those real, I keep saying real world curse words are designed to offend, whereas the colorful in-universe cussing is more humorous, tells you more about the character, about the world, and allows you to be enjoying it rather than responding in a whoa, I'm actually offended by that. Michael Caine says, I suspect the book won't be harmed at all from the trimming. Yep, I agree. John has the Lionheart. He just released the cover. Honestly, for me, I'm not super excited about superheroes, if that makes sense. I'm more excited about the sequel to The Black Crown, which will be coming out July 4th. So I definitely looking forward to that. Let's see. What else was I going to say on this? I think I just about covered it. He does say that he is going to preserve the Orc City part. Although he did give the prologue another look over, because he felt that he had both good and bad faith critics on that. And some things had changed from his initial plans for the book. If you have a physical first edition, which I do, you've got the spicier version that's now no longer available for whatever that is worth. If you're looking for some good fantasy fiction, I've got you covered. And I realized that my thing, there we go. When I was talking about the Lionheart and the Black Crown, I didn't have it up on my screen. It says sharing, but it had my slides up, so I apologize. But this is that new cover, that the Lionheart. And I can't even be tantalized by the dragon in the background. I'm not super excited about superheroes these days. It's not my preferred genre, but I'm definitely excited about the sequel to the Black Crown. So I still stand by my glowing review. If you want to know more about that, you may read my review. Michael Caine says, I also respect that John has a vision more for what he wants to do as well. So in that, I think he's going in the right direction. I agree. Yep. I tried to keep my content reader focused and not just like indie focused, like author focused, I mean. Because I feel like there's a lot of advice out there for authors, and like, why would you care about what I think? But for readers, here are a few things that I think that this topic and this situation kind of should remind us about, draw our attention to. First is indie authors care about giving you books that are right for you. John is thinking critically about the audience that he wants to reach, and that audience was primarily adult men. And what he found about them was that they didn't just want to be entertained, they also wanted to be able to give their sons and their children in general good entertainment. And that changed how he wanted the book to work. He was not just trying to make something that is just entertainment, like on one level, but something that was good entertainment, that was also good and appropriate for the purpose of reaching the audience that is his ideal audience, right? Young men. And he didn't want there to be this sort of hard stop, you know, with what age that he could reach doing that. I feel like with TradPub, especially more recently, there isn't a lot of thought put into that. Making a book that is appropriate for the audience that is trying to reach is only how can we just cram our ideology into a book and put it in the hands of as many readers as possible, not really considering who those readers are, the smaller demographics within. Like if we're making YA romantasy, girl bossing it up, making her crude and rude and lewd, and then just getting it into the hands of as many people as possible without considering, just sort of saying women and not considering different smaller demographics within that, and the appropriateness, the actual things that those demographics want from their entertainment. I think that indies are more mobile and more thoughtful about their ideal reader, and I think that this is one example of that. My second point for readers is indie books can change, adapting to the free market faster than TradPub. And that's part of the reason why in my reviews I don't usually talk about covers or internal formatting or even editing. My only thing is that I have to enjoy the book. So if there are too many errors or problems and it prevents me from enjoying the book, then I don't review it. But I know that those things can be changed or cleaned up very, very quickly. I think content concerns are something that should definitely be talked about in reviews. But though, content's a bit different than those sort of surface levels things, but it can change quickly. And so you want to always take reviews with a grain of salt, looking at when they were left, who left them. All of that is good info. And then the last thing is your feedback is important because indies care about their audience and because they can adapt very quickly. Your reviews can have a direct impact on an indie book. I think that's really cool. It's not just a product that you consume. It is something that you are coming together to create in your mind with the author, who can then be accessible to you. And your reviews are not only important for other readers to be able to find good books, but they can directly impact the quality of those books, right? They can be improved based on what you say. And in this case, what people said was, I would like to be able to hand this off. And they didn't, and it wasn't even said very critically, like, this is bad because I can't do that. So leave reviews. Doesn't matter how long or how complex. Simple, I liked it. I didn't like it. I think the would you review yes or no, would you recommend yes or no is a extremely useful simplification. And if you can explain a few points why, I think that's even more helpful. Yes, I think that's all I had to say on that topic. I'm very excited about indies, and I love sci-fi fantasy books, and I'm really excited to be able to talk with you guys and talk with authors about stuff. And I hope that my reviews are useful and helpful for you guys. And if you guys have read a book that I've reviewed, if you leave a comment saying whether or not you liked it, that is extremely helpful, not just for me, but for other readers who are looking at the website. They can see that I'm not just full of it, but they can see that other people also liked it. All right. Let me know what you are interested in. any particular subgenre of sci-fi fantasy that you would like particular recommendations for, or if you have a topic that you would like us to discuss, I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I believe it'll be a little bit before we have more content from the book club. Again, we're reading Tales Before Tolkien. I will continue releasing the reading room when I'm able to get editing done. And I have a few other things that I'm working on for YouTube particularly. I will be having a review come out on the website this week. I'm getting back into reading again. I was sick for a while and that sort of fell off with all of the other things I was falling behind on. So keep an eye on the website as well. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for watching.